What's up, everybody? I'm back. It's Wednesday, and I'm coming back with some more REN. It's been a little while since I've done a track from REN, and I thought I'd revisit it. I've been asked to go through the saga of Jenny, Screech, and Violet, I believe is the third one. So we're doing Screech today. Before I get into it, I will say one thing. I got a little bit of stick in the comments, as the British say, about... people were talking about how drugs were the cause of most crime. And I went and checked my sources. And I can tell you fairly definitively that the cause of most crime is poverty. Now, poverty and drug use are frequently linked. There is generally a fair amount of drug use among poor people, but there's also a fair amount of drug use among rich people. It just tends to be different drugs. Weed is not known to be a big factor in terms of violent crime. That tends to be other sorts of drugs that make you a little bit more aggressive. But I take this stuff very seriously. I don't necessarily endorse everybody doing all the drugs all the time, but I do think that the stigmatization of drug use is unhealthy. And the war against drugs in the U.S. specifically has been incredibly harmful. And so when I can sort of counter some of those ideas, I will. So, to say it again, violent crime in the U.S. is most directly correlated with poverty. Poverty is correlated with drug use, but those two things are not the same. A lot of poor people do not do drugs. A lot of violent criminals do not do drugs. I just wanted to make that clear. Like, alcohol is definitely a factor, especially when you're talking about stuff like domestic abuse, which is violent crime. But weed, not so much. Mushrooms, not so much. So I just want to say that because there was some arguing in the comments, and I come with the facts. Okay. I think I'll put the link to that in the comments or in the about section, just so you guys can see it for yourselves and don't have to take my word for it. But anyway, thank you all for sitting through that little lecture. I got my coffee. A few things as we're getting started here. Like and subscribe. I always appreciate that. If you do not like my my debunking of popular myths, then peace to you and move on. I am not an expert. I'm not a professional, so I'm probably not going to get too much into the composition or anything like that. I'm mostly go off vibes. All right, and don't be a dick. You may not like the way I do things. You may not like this song. You may not like my channel. That's all fine. You're not required to. But I would request that we keep it fairly polite in the comments. With that out of the way, this is SCREECH'S Tale by REN. So let's get into it.
Our story, it starts right at the end. At the life of poor Jenny, clocked out like Big Ben. Dear Screech, dear boy, where did he go? He melted into the black night just like snow. Patrick, man. Let me in, please open the door. I think I fucked up Patrick, really fucked up, man. I'm not sure. I got crazy, left this lady lying still on the floor. I think I killed her, Patrick, come on, man. I can't knock no more. But Screech kept on knocking till his knuckles became sore. But there's no sign of Patrick down at number 54. No refuge for our villain, for the bitter hands of fate, with something far more sinister in mind that does away. Hey babe, you in? Nah, nothing really, I'm just a bit tired, listen. Can I swing around yours for a few moments? I just really miss you, babe. What the fuck do you mean you're busy? You fucking bitch! For fuck's sakes! Siren sounds approaching like a banshee in the night. The shrill cry of justice cutting like the sharpest knife. But Screech was never one to run, not one to miss a fight. One hand upon his blade, he turned to face the blue lights. Come on then, you fucking cunts, let's fucking have you then. I am Screech, I'm the boss, I'm the ender of men. You think that uniform you're wearing means that you own these streets? These are my fucking streets, and they call me fucking Screech. Richard was an officer who stood at 6'3", working London on the night shift. What he didn't think he'd see was a boy running at him like an animal possessed. With no time to hesitate, he fired 4 bullets at Screech's chest. Our story, it ends right at the start. Young Screech and poor Jenny lying 1 street apart. An officer shaken by the boy that he claimed. 2 bodies lay lifeless, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame.
All right, that appears to be it. Okay, so as he mentions at the beginning of the song, this one picks up where the last one ended. In the last song, Screech had knifed Jenny and killed her. I will say, at the end, he mentions they were only 1 street away. Now, I understand, this is an artistic device, but I'm being practical here. He should have gotten farther away. You don't want to stay that close to the scene of a crime you just committed. Like, particularly when you're talking about murder, you want to get away from that and disappear. Again, I understand that is not like actually important. This isn't a true story, but I just that bugged me a little bit. It's like he should have tried to get farther away. I understand he's a kid, but like, come on, man. Okay, so as far as the actual composition and stuff of the song goes, I do like the way REN puts this stuff together, right? You know, the video, I've said this many times, I appreciate an artist that puts thought into their videos and tries to tell an actual story with the video to sort of give you a fuller picture of what they're envisioning in their head, right? So you've got the little interludes, you've got the knocking on the guitar to simulate the knocking on the door, you've got the fake phone call, right, where he is interrupting the song to add to the song. I think that's really effective. I think that's really cool. You've got the shooting the cameraman at the end, and he falls down, right? So you get the effect of Screech getting shot, which is also pretty cool, right? It's just creative, and I appreciate the thought that goes into that. I will also say, you may have seen me put up my middle finger, as we're talking about the police officer, the Bobby, as they call them, shooting Screech. And I stand by that. I do not like cops. I do not think cops should be armed. I don't really care for pushback on that. I have a friend who was murdered by police. There are a lot of people who have been murdered by police through routine stops, routine checks, mental health crises. Being a cop in America is not that dangerous a job, frankly. It isn't statistically. You can go look it up. It's a lot more dangerous to be a roofer. And being a cop in Britain is even less dangerous because nobody there has guns. I mean, obviously there are some people who have guns, but having a gun in England is a big deal. It's hard to get them, and they take that stuff seriously. So if you get busted with a gun, that's a big problem. Screech had a knife. You got a 6'3" cop, trained, ostensibly, right? And then he's working London. Maybe Manchester. This might be Manchester. I don't remember. Anyway, working the streets. And then you've got a 14-year-old kid with a knife. If you don't have a way to handle that situation better than just shooting the kid to death, you do not deserve to be in that position. I don't care. I do not care. Right? We're talking about a 14-year-old. You don't have any other ways to deal with the situation. You don't have any ways to de-escalate it. Again, I understand we're talking about a song here, and I get it, right? It's art, and this is, for the purpose of storytelling. I do understand that. I know I'm getting lost in the weeds, but I feel very strongly about police and policing, and I might as well use this as a stepping point to deal with that a little bit. I think we need less police on the streets. I'm okay with having armed response units, right? We have SWAT. There can be cops who are armed, but you can kill someone with a taser, right? It happens. You can kill someone with a baton. You do not need to have lethal force on you in order to kill somebody. And this bothers me. Like, yeah, I get it. Screech killed somebody, but cops are not meant to be executioners. They are not the law, right? The law is the law and the court system and going to trial and all that stuff. That's the law. The cops are there to get you to the law, not to kill you in the street. And I realize I'm getting a little animated about this, but it's because I really, really feel strongly about this. As far as it goes for a device in the song, it's effective, right? It's good. You get the nice 4 muted strums to signify the gunshots. You get the camera movement. That's all good. But the next part of this song, to my mind, if I was writing it, should be the cop goes home and finishes off the clip. That's what I think. Because he just murdered a kid. Right? And I have no sympathy. None. I have no sympathy. There are cops who sign up because they want to help. They want to do good things. And, that's noble or whatever. But every good cop that protects a bad cop is a bad cop. And that's it. There are a lot of bad cops. I understand. I have been talking much more about the police than I have about the song. I didn't know that was going to happen when I started this video. I didn't know we were going to end this video with the police execution in the street, but here we are. I do like the song. I do like REN. I think he's a very talented songwriter. I enjoy the guitar work. I think it's very solid, very creative. Again, I like the creative flourishes in the song, right? The knocking, the phone call, the way he he changes voices, right? He inhabits the characters. I think that's really cool. I just don't love the device at the end. And again, I understand, right? We're talking about, these are tragedies, right? These songs are tragedies. A woman gets murdered, and then the tragic end of the life of a 14-year-old who was, I believe he was drunk and high, is what was said in the first song, and he meets a tragic end, right? Like, this is tragedy. That's a literary technique, right? And so I get that, but there have been a lot of shootings in the U.S. by police against, and not just shootings, just killings by police of innocent people, and I don't care, frankly, whether they're innocent or guilty. That does not matter. I understand in the justice system it matters. In the way that you might get a sentence handed down to you, that matters. But go look up Elijah McClain, right? Or Philando Castile, or Botham Jean, or Ahmaud Arbery. Now, he wasn't killed by police, but by former police. There is a culture of violence in this country. Obviously, I'm in America, right? I'm not in Britain. And all he had was a knife. So, yeah. I know, I've gotten very serious. But this stuff matters to me. And, representation in media is important. And so addressing that kind of stuff is important. I think that'll do it, though. It's a good song. Yeah. I'll get around to Violet's Tale at some point. Thank you guys for watching. I hope, Ren is not going to watch this video. That's totally fine. But I know that there currently is some optimism about new treatments, and I hope that they are productive, right? It's devastating to know that, like, you're not in control of your life. You're not in control of your health. And years and years of that, it wears on you. So I hope that he is able to get some relief and some peace from these the new treatments that he's doing, and that the side effects are minimal, because he deserves to be able to go tour and really, get on stage and perform for people. He deserves to have that because he is good enough, and people would love to see it. So I hope that he's able to get healthy and do that. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, and drink lots of water, and do not talk to cops.